So next I am going to discuss the questions in the assignment in Newton's laws of motion. In my previous class I have shown you about 32 questions in Newton's laws of motion. I have also shown you the answer, given the answers at the end of the assignment. Of course, the assignment is not ended completely. We have only shown you 32 questions from the assignment. After discussion of these questions, I will again continue the assignment in Newton's law. That means I will be giving some more questions in Newton's laws of motion. So now I am going to discuss the solutions or answers for these questions. I would like to give the explanation for the answers one by one. Some of you may be able to answer most of these questions, and you may not need explanation for the first 10 or questions, suppose. In that case, you can skip this class. You can directly switch over to my next class. Suppose in case you don't need any explanation for the first 10 questions in the assignment, you can skip this class and go to the next class directly. Because some of the students may be able to answer most of the questions, and some students may need explanation for some of the questions. So therefore, at the beginning, for each class, we have numbered the questions which we are going to discuss in each class. So you observe those numbers. In case you don't have any doubts in the question numbers that are discussed in any particular class, you can skip that particular class and go to the next class. Come on, look at the questions again one by one. First, see the first question shown on the screen. You can derive Newton's second and third laws from first law, first and second laws from third law, third and first law from second law. You're already given the answers here. So, from Newton's second law, as you know, from Newton's second law, the resultant of all the external forces acting on a body will be equal to the product of its mass and acceleration from Newton's second law. The resultant of all the external forces acting on the body will be equal to product of its mass and acceleration. Suppose if the resultant of all the external forces acting on the body vanishes, I mean resultant, magnitude of the resultant of all the external forces acting on the body is 0. Then m into a bar equal to 0, but mass of the body cannot be 0, so acceleration is 0. So acceleration of the body will be 0 when the velocity of the body is either 0 or constant. That means if the resultant of all the external forces acting on the body is 0, then the velocity will be either 0 or constant. Means if no external force acts on the body either remains at rest or moves in a straight line path with uniform velocity, which is nothing but Newton's first law. That means you can deduce Newton's first law from Newton's second law. And you can also deduce Newton's third law from Newton's second law by considering the case of collision between two bodies. So the answer for this question is third option. So next I am going to discuss the next question. So see the second question. It's a direct substitution problem. The average resistive force that must act on a 5 kg mass to reduce its speed from 65 cm to 15 cm in 0.2 seconds. So the external force acting on the body, you can write mass into acceleration. Assuming one-dimensional motion for the body, the acceleration you can write it as change in the velocity by time. So for one-dimensional motion, you can write A as V minus U by T. So here V is equal to 15 centimeter per second and U is 65 centimeter per second. That means into 10 power minus 2 meter per second. Divided by the time interval is 0.2 seconds. So that you can simplify it to get the answer. Now we have converted all the units in SI system. So you get the answer also in SI units. You get 2.5 Newton is the answer. I'm going to discuss the next question then. So look at the question number 2. You can see the question number 2 there. This is a direct substitution problem. So which is a problem, we can assume that the motion is one-dimensional. So you can write the equation in the simpler form, F equal ma. For one-dimensional motion, a straight line path, you can write A equal to V minus U by T. The mass m is given to be 5 kg. The final velocity V is 15 centimeter per second or 15 into 10 power minus 2 meter per second. Initial velocity U is 65 centimeter per second or 65 in 10 power minus 2 meter per second. Divided by the time interval is 0.2 seconds. The mass m is 5 kg. All units we have expressed in SI units, so answer also will be an SI system. So you get minus 12.5 Newton. So the negative sign indicates that the force acts opposite to the initial velocity. The force must act opposite to initial velocity. So magnitude of the resistive force will be equal to 12.5 Newtons. So answer is 12.5 Newtons. Come on, look at the next question then. See the next question, question number 3. A constant force acts on a body of mass 0.9 kg at rest for 10 seconds. The body moves a distance of 250 meters, the magnitude of the force is. So to find the magnitude of the force, you have to calculate the acceleration. The body starts from rest and moves with constant acceleration. You can write displacement covered in time t is equal to half a square. When the external force of the body is constant, you can assume acceleration is also constant. Here displacement s equal to 50 meters in a time interval t equal to 10 seconds. So you can find the acceleration A from this. And then you can use the Newton's second law. The external force applied on the body is equal to product of its mass and acceleration. The mass m is 0.9 kg. The acceleration you get 5 meter per second square. So you get answer as 4.5 Newton. So those who want to copy the solutions of the problems, they can, after I completed working the problem, they can take a pause and take more time, required time, they can take the pause and take their own time to copy the solution. So see the next question then. See the next question, question number 4. Bullets of mass of 0.03 kg each hit a fixed plate at the rate of 200 bullets per second with a velocity of 50 meters per second. Reflect back with a velocity of magnitude 30 meters per second. The average force acting on the plate in Newton is. So I take the direction of the initial velocity towards the plate as the positive direction of x-axis. I take the direction of the initial velocity towards the plate as the positive direction of x-axis. So in vector form, the initial velocity of each bullet just before it strikes the plate, you can write 50 I cap meter per second. And the final velocity of each bullet after it rebounds from the plate are denoted by V bar. That will be directed in the opposite direction, that means the negative direction of x-axis. I cap is unit vector along positive x-axis. So unit vector along negative x-axis will be minus I cap. So in vector form, final velocity of the bullet when it rebounds back, we can write minus 30 I cap meter per second. So the force on the bullets force exerted on bullets by plate. We call rate of change of linear amount of the bullet. So change in momentum of one of the bullets will be m into v bar minus u bar. Let small n denote number of bullets which strike the plate per second. Then change in momentum for 1 second can be written as number of bullets striking the plate per second into change in momentum of one of the bullets. So m is the mass of each bullet, that is 0.03 kg. So v bar is minus 30 I cap. U bar is 50 I cap meter per second. N is the number of bullets that strike per second, that is n 200 per second. So that comes out to be minus 0.03 into 80 I cap into 200 Newton. So that you can simplify it. So minus 480 I cap Newton. So that is the direction. Negative sign indicates that force on bullets by plate is directed away from the plate. From Newton's third law, force exerted on plate, I mean average force. The average force exerted on plate by the bullets will be equal and opposite this. That can be written as 480 I cap Newton, because action and reaction forces are equal in magnitude but opposite direction. And right, action is equal to negative of reaction. So therefore, if reaction force is minus 480 I cap Newton, action can be written as 480 I cap Newton. So magnitude of the average force exerted on the plate. The magnitude of the average force exerted on the plate modulus will be 480 Newton. That's the answer. I cap is unit vector. Modulus of I cap will be 1. So answer is 480 Newtons. In case you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. See the question number 5. Body of 5 kg is moving on a smooth floor with a velocity of 20 meters per second. The force of 100 newtons applied on it for 10 seconds the same direction as its velocity. What will now be the velocity of the body? So let us calculate the acceleration. So from Newton's second law, the resultant force on the body, resultant of all the force acting on the body, the product of its mass and acceleration. So initially it is moving with uniform velocity. So there was no external force in the horizontal direction initially. Now we consider the accelerated motion for 10 seconds after the application of the force. The acceleration of the body is equal to external force on the body by mass of the body. The external force on the body is 100 newtons, mass is 5 kg. So this will be equal to 20 meters per second square. You have to find the final velocity of the body after 10 seconds. So because the problem is given with one-dimensional motion, when the problem is given with a one-dimensional motion, you can solve the problem in simpler notation. It's not compulsory to follow the bar vector notation for problems in one-dimensional motion. So the final velocity after time t, you can write v equal to u plus at, or vf equal to vi plus a into t. Vi is the initial velocity, vf is the final velocity of time t. Here the initial velocity is 20 meters per second. The acceleration is 20 meters per second square. You have to find final velocity after 10 seconds. So you get 220 meters per second is the answer. See the next question, question number 6. Certain force applied to mass m1 gives it an acceleration of 10 meters per second square. The same force applied to mass m2 gives it an acceleration of 15 meters per second square. The two masses are joined together and same force applied to the combination. The acceleration will be. So you may assume that the resultant external force applied on the body, applied on the mass is same in each case. Let F denote the magnitude of the force applied on the mass m1 in the first case. So in the first case, we can apply Newton's second law for the mass m1, F equal to m1 a1. So the acceleration in the first case, you can write F by m1. In the second case, same force is applied to a mass m2. So if apply Newton's second law for second case, you can write F equal to m2a2. Or you can write m2 equal to F by a2. In the first case, you can write m1 equal to F by a1. So in the third case, the two masses are tied together, joined together, and same force is applied on the combination. So in the third case, if you apply Newton's second law for system of the total mass m1 plus m2, same force is applied. You can write F equal to m1 plus m2 into a. So on the right hand side, you can substitute m1 equal to F by a1 and m2 equal to F by a2. So you get, so on the left hand side you have F, on the right side m1 can be written as F by a1, m2 equal to F by a2. Come on, you simplify this yourself. So if you simplify this yourself, you're supposed to get A equal to A1 A2 by A1 plus A2. Here all the accelerations are in the same direction in all the cases. I mean in the direction of the force. Magnitude of acceleration in the first case is 10 meter per second square. Magnitude of acceleration in the second case is 15 meter per second square. So A1 plus A2 will be 10 plus 15, 25. That if you simplify here, you get accelerations 6 meter per second square. Is the answer. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. I'm going to discuss the next question, question number 7. See the question number 7. An impulse is applied to a moving object with the force at an angle of 120 degrees with the velocity vector. The angle between impulse vector and change in momentum vector is. This question was originally given one of the previous EAMCET examinations. Impulse given to the body will be equal to the change in momentum produced by the impulsive force. I mean impulse of the resultant force of the body for a given time interval is equal to change in momentum of the body. So impulse and change in momentum are equal. Vector form we can write J bar equal to delta P bar. Therefore, angle between J bar and the angle between J bar and delta P bar is 0. So answer is 0. So that 120 degrees has nothing to do with answering the question. That 120 degrees is the angle between the force applied and the initial velocity vector. But change in momentum takes place in the direction of the impulse. So answer is 0. See the question number 8. 10,000 small balls, each of mass 1 gram, strike 1 square centimeter of area per second with a velocity of 100 meter per second in the normal direction and rebound with the same speed. The pressure on surface in Newton per meter square is. So I choose the direction of the initial velocity of each ball as positive direction of x-axis. So this is the surface with which each ball strikes. So after the collision, each ball rebounds in the same speed. That means final velocity of each ball after the impact is equal in magnitude but opposite to initial velocity. The initial velocity u bar can be written as equal to 100 I cap meter per second. I cap unit vector along x-axis. The mass of each ball are denoted by small m. 1 gram means that is 10 power minus 3 kg. So the force exerted on the balls, the average force exerted by surface on the balls is equal to time rate of change of linear momentum. That is equal to change in momentum of one of the balls into multiplied by number of balls striking per second. Similar question we discussed earlier with a small difference. Here V bar equal to minus U bar. So that will minus 2 mu bar into N. The negative sign indicates that the force on the balls by the surface acts in the negative direction of x-axis, that is away from surface. So the force on surface by the balls will be equal and opposite to the force on balls by surface. So force exerted on surface by the balls, the average force exerted on surface by the balls, that is denoted by F bar, will be negative of the force on balls by surface. Action equal negative reaction. So we can write 2 mu bar N. So here mass M of each ball is 1 gram at 10 power minus 3 kg. The initial velocity U bar is 100 I cap meter per second. Number of balls striking 10,000 per second. So if you simplify this, you get 2 into power 10 power 4 into 10 square, 10 power 6, 10 cube. So 2 into 10 cube I cap Newton. It acts in the positive direction of x-axis. That means towards surface. This is the force on surface. So average pressure on the surface equal to average force exerted on the surface by surface area. The average force is 2 into 10 power 3 Newton. The surface area is 1 square centimeter, means the surface area is given as 1 square centimeter. If you convert it into SI units, that is 1 power minus 4 meter square. So you get average pressure on the surface will be 2 into 10 to the power 7 Newton per meter square. That's the answer. Want to copy the solution of the problem? You can copy down the solution of the problem. You can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. See the question number 9. A gun of mass 10 kg fires 4 bullets per second. So number of bullets fired per second is denoted by small n. The mass of each bullet is denoted by small m. That is 20 grams, means 20 into 10 power minus 3 kg. Or you can write 2 into 10 power minus 2 kg. And the velocity of the bullet when it leaves the gun is 300 meters per second. So I choose the direction of the initial velocity of each bullet as positive direction of x-axis. The direction of the initial velocity of each bullet when it leaves the gun, I denote it as positive direction. I take it as positive direction of x-axis. So here, change in the force on bullets by the gun. This is called time rate of change of linear amount of the bullets. That is change in momentum of the bullets per second. That you can write when one bullet is fired here u bar is velocity with which it comes out, or we can denote it by small v bar. V bar is the velocity of each bullet when it leaves the gun. That is 300 I cap meter per second. So when initial momentum of each bullet just before firing is 0, so final momentum of each bullet when it just leaves the gun is mv bar. And this is the change in momentum in when one bullet is fired. So change in momentum in 1 second will be change in momentum of one bullet. Change in momentum caused due to firing of one bullet into number of bullets fired per second. So that will be mv bar into n. So mass of each bullet is here 2 into 10 power minus 2 kg. V bar is 300 I cap meter per second. N is the number of bullets striking per second, that is 4 per second. So that will be so I can simplify this. (24) into I cap Newton. So the force exerted on gun by the bullets will be equal and opposite to the force on bullets by the gun. That is minus 24 I cap Newton. That means the gun experiences a force of magnitude 24 Newton in the backward direction, opposite to the direction of the firing. So the person holding the gun must apply a force on the gun in the forward direction, that is the direction of the motion of the bullets, to balance this reaction force experienced by the gun due to the leaving bullets. Due to the bullets which leave the gun experiences reaction force of magnitude 24 newtons backwards. So to balance that reaction force, the force required to be applied on the gun in the direction of firing will be 24 I cap Newton. That means the magnitude of the force required is 25 Newton. Those who want to copy the solution, they can copy the solution. Of course, you are given the mass of the gun here. To answer this particular question, mass of the gun is not required. Of course, we make use of the mass of the gun when you are asked to find recoil velocity of the gun. Then it is allowed to recoil freely. But here gun is not allowed to recoil freely. It is therefore you are not asked to calculate recoil velocity of the gun. So that's why we are not making use of the mass of the gun. You can see the next question, question number 10. A cricket ball of mass 150 gram is moving with a velocity of 12 meters per second. This problem is also similar to the previous earlier problems. The direction of the final velocity is opposite direction of the initial velocity. So if you give positives, if you choose the direction of the initial velocity positive x-axis, the direction of the final velocity will be along the negative x-axis. So in vector form, if you write initial velocity of the ball before it is hit by the bat is 12 I cap meter per second. The final velocity after it is hit by the bat will be minus 20 I cap meter per second. The mass of the ball is 150 grams. So 150 into 10 power minus 3 kg. Or 15 into 10 power minus 2 kg. So the force acting on the ball The average force. External force acting on the ball is equal to product of mass and acceleration of the ball. So that is equal to V bar minus average acceleration of the ball. Average acceleration V bar minus U bar by delta T. So mass is 15 into 10 power minus 2 kg. V bar is minus 20 I bar. U bar is 12 I bar or I cap meter per second. By delta T is 0.01 seconds. So that you can simplify further. 15 into minus 32 I cap Newton. The negative sign indicates that the force acts opposite to the direction of the initial velocity. That means the force on the ball by the bat acts opposite the direction of the initial velocity. So you get minus 480 I cap Newton. So magnitude of the force will be 480 Newton. So answer will be 480 Newton. See the question number 11 here. The ship of mass 3 to 10 power 7 kg, initially at rest, is pulled by a force of 5 into 10 to the power of 4 Newton through a distance of 3 meters, assuming that the resistance due to water is negligible. The speed of the ship is. So, you can assume the acceleration to be constant as the force is constant. From Newton's second law, you can write F equal to ma. So, the magnitude of acceleration is equal to magnitude of the external force by mass. Magnitude of external force is 5 in 10 power 5 newtons. Magnitude of the acceleration is 3 into 10 to the power 7. The mass is 3 in 10 power 7 kg. So magnitude of the acceleration you get 5 by 3 into 10 power minus 3 meter per second square. So initial velocity is 0. Displacement we have to find final velocity after traveling a distance of 3 meters in the direction of the force. So you can use the equation v square or square equal to 2as. The initial velocity is 0. So the acceleration is 5 by 3 10 power minus 3 meter per second square. And s is 3 meters. You can simplify this yourself. You get the answer as 0.1 meter per second. See the next question here. For the question number 11, which I just discussed, the answer will be third option. See the question number 12. A body of mass 1 kg is moving towards east on a smooth horizontal surface with a uniform speed of 2 meters per second. Force of 10 Newton is applied to it towards north. The magnitude of the displacement of the body 2 seconds after the force is applied. So we choose the direction of the initial velocity towards east as positive direction of x-axis. The horizontal direction towards north, I take it as positive direction of y-axis. That means the problem is given with two-dimensional motion with a constant acceleration. So the body simultaneously will have displacements parallel to x and y axis. The force is applied towards north. The initial velocity is directed towards east. So there will be acceleration towards north, that is along y-axis, but there will be no acceleration along x-axis. The force is directed along positive axis or towards north. So component of this force along x-axis 0. So x component of acceleration is equal to x component of force by mass. X component of force is 0. So x component of acceleration is 0. Therefore, x component of velocity will be constant. Therefore, displacement along x direction will be covered with uniform velocity, u equal to 2 meter per second. I choose the initial position as origin of the coordinate system. That means y is the position of the body at the instant the force begins to act on it. So displacement in the x direction, in time t you can write u into t plus half ax into t square. But acceleration in the x direction is 0. Velocity in the x direction is a constant. So that can be written as u into t, because acceleration in the x direction is 0. At t equal to 2 seconds, you get u is 2 meter per second and t equal to 2 seconds, so you get x equal to 4 meters. To find the displacement parallel to the y direction, we have to first calculate the acceleration along y direction. Y component of the acceleration is equal to force in the y direction by mass. The force along y direction has magnitude 2 newtons, mass is 1 kg. So y component of the acceleration is 2 meter per second square. Y component of initial velocity is 0, because initial velocity is direct along x-axis. You can say its rectangular component along y-axis is 0. So displacement parallel to the y direction after 2 seconds can be found by using the equation s equal to t plus half at square for motion parallel to y-axis. So initial velocity in the y direction is 0, acceleration in the y direction is 2 meter per second square, t equal to 2 seconds. So let P denote the position of the body after 2 seconds. Y is the displacement parallel to y-axis and x is the displacement parallel to the x-axis. So magnitude of actual displacement of the body, the shortest distance between the point P and the origin O. That will be equal to root of x square plus y square. Of course, if you want to write the answer in vector form, displacement from origin in time t, you can write xi cap plus yj cap. So here x equal to 4 meters. If you simplify, y also get 4 meters. You get answer as 4 root 2 meter. Because x and y are equal, the displacement will be along a line passing through origin, making 45 degrees with x-axis. That means the particle undergoes a displacement of magnitude 4 root 2 meter towards northeast. Of course, you are not asked the direction of displacement. You are just asked only magnitude of the displacement. So answer will be 4 root 2 meters. In case you are asked the direction of the displacement, you can say 4 root 2 meters towards northeast. So those who want to copy the solution of the problem, they can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. See the question number 13. I would like to discuss this question first in a general way, in letter notation. Later I substitute the numericals. See the question number 13 then. A stream of water flowing horizontally with a speed of 10 meters per second gushes out of a tube of cross-sectional area 2 in 10 power minus 2 meters square and hits a vertical wall. The force exerted on the wall by the impact of water, assuming that it does not rebound, is. So here there is one term we use, volume flux. Volume flux of water means volume of the water flowing per second through any cross section of the tube. That can be written as product of area of cross section and speed of water flow. That means if you consider an infinitesimally small interval of time dt, during an infinitesimally small interval of time dt, a small element of water travels a distance v dt. So this distance v dt into area of cross section gives you the volume of the water passing through any cross section of the tube in time dt. So AV dt gives you the volume of the water passing through any cross section of the tube in time dt. So divided by time dt gives you the volume of the water flowing through any cross section of the tube per second. This volume of the water flowing through any cross section of the tube per second is called volume flux. Or sometimes in fluid dynamics the same term will be called as rate of volume flux, means rate of flow of water. It will be equal to product of area of cross section and magnitude of velocity of flow. So mass flux of water, that means mass of the water flowing per second. I mean mass of the water passing through any cross section of the tube per second we call mass flux. That is the rate of, or mathematically we write dm by dt. That means if dm is the mass of water flowing through any cross section of the tube in the infinitesimally small interval of time dt, then dm by dt, it means mass of the water flowing per second through any cross section of the tube. That is equal to volume flux of water into density of water. Volume flux you can write AV, density are denoted by rho. So the force is equal to rate of change of momentum. The force exerted by the pipe on the water that comes out of the pipe is equal to rate of change of momentum, that is equal to mass flux into velocity. That is mass flux, the mass of the water flowing per second into velocity of flow, gives you the momentum of the water flowing out per second, or rate of change of momentum of ejecting water. That gives you the force exerted on the ejecting water by the pipe. That you can write AV rho into V, or AV square into rho. So the force exerted on the pipe by the ejecting water will be in the backward direction. From Newton's third law, the force exerted on the pipe by the ejecting water will be same as the force exerted by the pipe on the leaving water in magnitude. So therefore F equal to AV square rho gives you the magnitude of the force exerted by the water ejecting out of the pipe. So if this water falls on the wall and it does not rebound, that means the final velocity of any element of mass, of any elementary mass of the water after striking the wall becomes zero. So magnitude of change in momentum of a small elementary mass of water after it strikes the wall is almost same as the magnitude of, magnitude of change in momentum is same as the magnitude of initial momentum. Then the final momentum is zero. So if the water does not rebound back, then the force exerted on the wall by the water striking is equal to mass flux into V. V is the magnitude of velocity with which water strikes the wall. So that is comes out AV square rho. So you can substitute here area of cross section 2 into 10 power minus 2 meter square. V is 10 meter per second. Density of water is 10 cube kg per cubic meter. So you get as answer as 2 into 10 cube Newton or 2000 Newton is the answer. I'll continue my discussion in my next class.